So, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Dynasty Fan Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a good show for today talking about some week 4 waivers, some of our top ads at the position. We're going to give you our top three at the running back, wide receiver position, as well as some honorable mentions at the end. So, what's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Did pretty well so far in most of my leagues. I did have some couple leagues with Javonte Williams going down, so that just really hurts. Have a couple of leagues where I was looking to go 4-0, and now I lost Javonte, and it just doesn't look good, man. So hopefully these waiver wire RBs will be able to help me out rest of season.
Yeah, definitely a lot of teams are hurting right now, man. Some big names went down. So we'll see. Hopefully, some of these guys, I think some of these guys could produce pretty good for us. So, first, we're going to start off with the ugly position right now, just tight end. And somehow Tyler Conklin still got a below 50 roster percentage, man. And he continues to do well, right? He's just getting targeted every game, targets after targets, right? 7 to 9 targets a game. Then with Zach Wilson, he still puts up a decent game with Zach Wilson in the game. So he was tight end 4 up until last week, right? Or was it 3? I think he was tight end 3 up until last week. So definitely a good waiver wire ad if you want to. Another bonus one would be Logan Thomas, I think. He got 6 targets last week. Also, now we have Jahan Dotson dealing with some sort of injury. He might be out there saying maybe about 1 to 2 weeks. So Logan Thomas these next 2 weeks, a little streamer, right? If you're in a desperate spot, I think Logan Thomas could spot you also some points these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think the tight end, as we know, is just this year. It just seems like it's even tougher than usual if you don't have one of those top guys. So yeah, I don't know how Tyler Conklin is still available in just over or just under 50% of leagues. So if you need a tight end for sure, he's somebody that you can pick up and play week to week. And also in deeper leagues, Logan Thomas is probably the guy I would want if most of those other guys that we've talked about in the past are rostered. So
Yep. And then moving on to quarterback, we got Jared Goff, man. Jared Goff, Zach Wilson puts up a decent game, right? I think he still gets up close to 20 fantasy points. But Jared Goff, man, almost 400 yards, right? No Amon Ra, no DeAndre Swift, throws for like 378 yards, 4 touchdowns, right? We know Hawkinson went crazy. So Jared Goff also still on your waiver wire, right? So these are two players, right? I would definitely, I mean, prefer Goff, right? I mean, he's just been tearing it up, right? He's a QB1 right now on the season.
he's
So
he's QB5 for the season.
yeah, top 5 QB right now without his weapons right now. Still tore it up, man. The Lions just producing shootout after shootout, right? So that's what you want. Your quarterback is going to throw for a ton of yards, have some touchdowns. Definitely what you want to see. So if Goff is on your waiver wire still and you're in a pinch, right? You had some couple of injuries, right? Lance, we've had Dak out. I think Dak might be back. Or also if you're running with Carson Wentz out there, it hasn't been looking pretty. So I think Jared Goff definitely is a good ad right now.
Yeah, only 50. He's 51% rostered, so he's definitely available. He's somebody that you could at least have on your bench in case somebody goes down. We've seen some big name quarterbacks go down already, and then also, we have bye weeks coming up soon, so it's not. It's okay to kind of think ahead and try to get ahead of those bye weeks, right? People are going to be trying to roster a second quarterback, so if you can get the QB5 on the season, maybe hold them a week or two and then have them for some bye weeks. I think that's a good strategy if you can have room on your bench.
Yep. And then going into the running back, so we kind of got a little tandem here. So we have Mike Boone and Latavius Murray. So Latavius Murray had a pretty good little outing, right? And we just got news that Denver signed him, right, from the Saints practice squad. So he played, man. He played this past weekend and he didn't do too bad. 11 for 57 and a touchdown, a little over 5 yards per carry. So that's not bad. He had 13 fantasy points. He had 1 reception. So 13 fantasy points this past week. So who knows? That might be a little battle for that RB2 spot, right? We know Mike Boone did get some work too this week. And I know too that Melvin Gordon's been dealing with a neck injury, right? He's been on the injury report for 2 weeks already, where he's dealing with the neck injury. So that doesn't sound too good. So Mike Boone and Latavius Murray, definitely some good little ads this week.
Yeah, for sure, Kay. Like you said, I just don't see how Gordon If they increase his workload anymore, I just don't see how he's going to hold up, be healthy. I think he's 29 years old, so I think that it's definitely an opportunity for one of these other guys to make the most out of their opportunity. So we'll see moving forward. Right now, I think Mike Boone will get the first shot. Um, but Murray is a veteran, and so if Mike Boone struggles or has some early mistakes, then they might look to Latavius for sure.
Yeah, I think Latavius has a really good shot. I mean, he's just like you said. He's got the experience. Denver's struggling too, man. I don't know. Mike Boone only got 6 touches. It was like 3 targets, I think, and three carries. So I think Latavius Murray's got a good little shot at it, at winning that backfield, at least for that RB2 spot. And then we'll see how it goes with Gordon. He's been fumbling. Gordon hasn't looked good. So definitely a good little pickup this week. And at RB2, we have Rachaad White. So I think Rachaad White he's kind of like my favorite one, to be honest. I mean, he got some good work. I think he had 50. It was 5 for 50, right, with the receiving work. And we know, right, Leonard Fournette, he's older, man. Came in 27. He came into camp out of shape, right? And Rachaad White, the Tampa Bay's just been struggling, right? They've been struggling. Think they need some offensive weapons. They were missing Godwin and stuff. So Rachaad White gets you 14 fantasy points this week, gets a touchdown. So really, I like it with the receiving work. That's definitely solid, man. And we know he's a solid receiving back. So I like Rachaad White. I think he's a good pickup. I think there's also, you've had Leonard Fournette dealing with some nagging injuries, right? So being the age that he is, I think Rachaad White is a solid right pickup with definitely high upside if something were to happen to Fournette.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the high upside, man. I guess my only concern about White, and the reason why we have him at number two and not number one, is that only 3 rushing attempts for 6 yards. So, and really the game script, right? The Buccaneers were down big. The Chiefs were up, 2, 3 touchdowns at one point, and so they went to a hurry up offense. Rachaad White is a good pass catcher, so he was in there, played 30% of the snap share. So, I mean, do we expect the Buccaneers to be down big? I mean, that might have had something to do with the targets out of the backfield. So that's just something to monitor. But I definitely agree with you that he definitely has a lot of upside. If we have room on our benches, we definitely want to be getting some shares of Rachaad White.
Yep. So at number one, right here, our number one RB ad is going to be Tyler Algier. So we know now Patterson, right? Tyler Algier, he was decent. He was decent. He had 10 for 84, right? 10 for 84. I think he had 1 target out of the backfield. So not a bad day. I think he had like 11, 12 fantasy points. But also now you have the reports where Patterson's going on IR. So he's going to be out a minimum of 4 weeks. So Tyler Algier has a good opportunity, right? We haven't heard them bringing in anybody else. Another name worth mentioning was Caleb Huntley, right? He did pretty decent as well. He pretty much split the backfield with Tyler Algier. He had a decent outing, got some carries, right? Got similar yardage than Algier.
He got the
I think they
touchdown.
tied in carries. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they
Huntley got
tied in 10 carries
the
each.
touchdown. So.
Yeah, he got a goal line work. So Caleb Huntley, right? If you want to take a shot at Algier, you could put probably a low bid on Caleb Huntley as well.
Yeah, I'm high on Tyler Algier, man. I think that we saw some flashes in preseason of what he can do. He's been pretty good in limited work, like you said, and so I like him. I'm going to try to pick him up in a couple leagues where I need a running back. He's my target this week because I think that the fact that we basically we have at least 4 weeks of him. That's somebody that can help you for the next 4 weeks, and so when those opportunities present themselves we definitely want to, in my opinion, try to take advantage of it. So,
Yeah. So now moving on to our wide receivers. We got our wide receiver three for the show. Our waiver wire show is going to be Isaiah McKenzie. So I like Isaiah McKenzie, man. He's been doing good. He just keeps improving. He was doing well. We heard a lot of good hype around him in training camp. They were liking him. He moved into that starting slot role over Jamison Crowder, right? And these past 2 games have been pretty big, man. Last week, 9 targets. He went 7 for 76 and a touchdown. Then this week he has 6 targets, right? He goes 4 for 48, so like 4 for 50 and another touchdown. So I like McKenzie, man. He's getting a lot more involved now, as well as now you have a Jamison Crowder went down with an injury. He's got a broken ankle. So Jamison Crowder now out of the lineup, right? We know he was pretty much splitting slot reps with Jamison Crowder. So now Isaiah McKenzie, man, I think he could sneakily be the wide receiver 2 there for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I know a lot of people like Gabe Davis, who I like him, but Gabe Davis I think is going to be a little bit more boom bust. He's only getting like 6, 5 targets. Isaiah McKenzie could easily be getting you, I think, more targets, especially in that slot role there for Buffalo.
Yeah, it's one of the things you said, man. And honestly, I wasn't sure about it. Is Gabe Davis might be a little big play dependent, but it kind of seems that way. At least this year, had a huge week one. Then I think he got hurt, but these last 2 weeks, it's hard to sit him, but he just hasn't been productive the last 2 weeks. So we'll see moving forward. But yeah, I think McKenzie's stock is definitely on the rise for sure because of the injuries and because of the 2 solid weeks in a row.
Yep. And I'll let you lead off with our number 2 because I know this is wide receiver that you like a lot right now.
So my number 2 wide receiver is Corey Davis, guys. He's somebody that just is producing steady. I mean, he's not going to go out and get you 30 points, but he's somebody that can get you 10, 12 points. He's wide receiver 25 right now on the year. So he had 13 in the first game, 16 in the second game, a terrible game in week 3, but he came back with a solid week 4. Led the team in targets week 4 with Zach Wilson, which is something that we talked about in our live stream. We love Garrett Wilson, but with Zach Wilson coming back, we don't know what the chemistry is going to be like. It might take some time. And it looked like he liked Corey Davis, at least in that game, more. Corey Davis, 7 targets, 5 receptions, and a touchdown. He had a big game. So he's wide receiver 25 right now. So he's somebody that probably needs to be rostered, I think.
Yeah, definitely worth rostering, man. Wide receiver 2, we got some bye weeks coming up, so definitely a solid flex play. So our number 1 wide receiver to pick up, probably one of the top waiver wire ads, I would say. I like him and Rachaad White, but George Pickens. So we have a little mini George Pickens breakout, right? So he played solid, man. We know that he's talented. We saw him make some amazing plays in preseason, right? And even in college, right, we saw what he can do. So George Pickens comes out. He gets the QB upgrade, right, with Kenny Pickett now. And they look like they got a good connection, man. He only had 2 receptions, I think, for 30 yards at half, right? That's all he had. Then he ends up going for 102 yards. So basically a little over 70 yards in one half with Kenny Pickett, right? So that's solid, man. He had 8 targets. He had 7 targets last week, but the quality of targets are not the same, right? So now that he's got a little bit more catchable targets, right? Kenny Pickett, 8. He was 6 for 8 with Kenny Pickett. Well, 6 for 8 on the game, right? 6 receptions for over 100 yards. So doesn't even get a touchdown, gets you basically 16 fantasy points. So that's a solid night, man. And I really like George Pickens a lot going forward. Especially we heard the news today that they're gonna keep rolling with Kenny Pickett right now. So I think George Pickens, man, has some high upside the rest of the way here.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks that way, man. It was a small sample size, like you said, but I think he only had one catch with Trubisky, and then the rest came with Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, Kenny Pickett's definitely looked like he favored him, that he was looking for him down the field. Um, so we'll see. I definitely think that the offense is going to be a lot more explosive. They're going to definitely open the playbook up a little bit more, I think, for Kenny Pickett. And I think that Kenny Pickett coming in just helps all those pass catchers, and I think it definitely helps Najee Harris as well.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big boost, I think, for all those pass catchers. We saw Fairmouth even had a solid game. Hopefully, it helps with Deontay too. He was the one kind of the odd man out this week, but I think he's going to be solid also rest of the way. Okay, so 3 quick honorable mentions, guys. Brian Robinson, if he's on your waiver wire, set to return soon. Definitely scoop him up. Also, we have Isaiah Pacheco, who we didn't mention, but got 11 for 66, 11 for 63. So out snapped and out touched Jerick McKinnon. So definitely worth mentioning, as well as Gus Edwards, who should return very soon. If he's on your waiver wire, if you miss it on some of these guys, Gus Edwards is also a good stash. So those are our top waiver wire ads for the week, guys. Hopefully, you guys can bid on some of these players and they'll help you out in your leagues for the rest of the season, right? Or just a week or two if you need them. Then you can trade them if they have a big week. So, hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Ryan, you want to send them off?
Thanks a lot, guys. Good luck this week on your bids.